And we're back for hour 3. Scum and Villainy Stardancer. And we got a job!
Actually, there's a couple of tasks and jobs on the table.
Yeah?
There's something I want to do.
There's some cool opportunities ahead of you folks. And of course, you can always try to reach out to some people that are your friends and see if you can find anything else with your ear to the ground. But with all of the stuff that's been happening during downtime, we said that we were going to have the crew come together and discuss what your next action is going to be. So if I may be so bold, I'll set the scene in your galley, which has now been cleaned up so there's not food on the floor and stuff. And take it away.
I got us work. It's not glorious work. She looks at Lauren.
Is our work ever glorious, though, on this ship?
It's not necessarily safe work. She looks at Vaz. But it's work. It's a job, and it pays real, actual monies. Real creds.
We need those.
Yeah. We just need to go to this ice planet, Lithos, and pull somebody off of it. Easy peasy schmeasy.
That's in the Yaron sector, right?
Yoda, I think.
House.
Wait,
Iota?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not in a different sector. It's one gate jump away. It's in the Iota system.
Yeah, it's in the Iota system. And there shouldn't be a lot of people going there because there's something about like the system being really hot right now. Like ships are burning up or something. So like there won't be as many people there because it's not safe to travel there. So we won't have as many people to deal with on our way.
Okay. I got in touch with a friend of mine who might be able to give us some information about this box that we have. Maybe we should stop by there first.
good idea.
It seems like this box is valuable. We might be able to get some cred from it too, but I want to understand it before we sell it to someone.
The box is very valuable.
Yeah, and I don't want to risk it on some sort of risky job.
Yes, but if we have nothing, which right now we have nothing, then we have nothing to barter with right now.
We have the box.
Yeah, but that's it. You're right. We have one bargaining chip, and oh my god, my mother used to always harp on this. She'd always be like hide money in all your pockets. Like whenever I'd go out, she'd pat me down, and be like, do you have a few creds there? Do you have a few creds there? That's why I'm always searching my pockets. And my mother was like obsessive about like shoving creds into corners.
Awkward.
The point was that I was never at a place where I didn't have something somewhere, and right now we got nothing nowhere. So I want to feel a little more flush before we go deal with this box, because this box is a big deal, and right now we have nothing else. She looks like hoping that is a convincing argument because that's all she's got.
I think Boz and Lauren are kind of both like,
I want to know about the box.
Yeah, and it could be quite a large bargaining chip. It's not just one or two creds stuffed into a pocket in your jacket. It seems like it's a lot of armpit more important. Yeah, and it also seems like it'd be really uncomfortable, pointy.
I just think it's over our heads, and
that is why we have friends.
How good are friends?
Pretty good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go do that.
Yeah. Let's check it out. And then absolutely, let's get on this job because I agree completely.
I have
the creds.
Feeling that if we do anything with this box, it's not going to end there. It's going to lead to the next thing with the box, and the next thing with the box. Oh, also, talk to, I'm forgetting her name. Strash, what's our contact's name? Oh,
Satani.
Talk to Satani, and our employer who sent us to deliver it has been asking about it. So I told Satani to tell them that she couldn't get in touch with us. She couldn't find us.
Okay, that's great. That buys us some time
to go learn about the box.
Yeah.
Big people about ice. Okay, fine. We're gonna go get the box.
Then we can know.
Yeah, if we learn something about the box and it feels like the box is going to be a big thing, we can leave it with my friend Theron and
leave it.
No,
he's with the church. He's trustworthy.
Exactly.
What?
No.
Wait. and that's supposed to make me feel. better? This
is my faith.
Lauren.
He's a holy man.
I know, but
that doesn't make him honest.
But
I've known him for a long time. He and I have helped each other out.
You're not honest yet.
My dad had lots of things to say about the faith, and God, his sermons, they just went on forever. You wouldn't ever imagine that one person could talk this much, but my father adopted father. I remind you.
I think Boss and I look at each other and like, I think we can imagine that. We can imagine.
There was something in there about fearing the church, but not trusting the church, or obeying, or one of those things. Doing what the church says.
Not part of it.
But,
I think it's important that we know what it is we have our hands on before we go willy-nilly all over space with it.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go see your friend.
Okay.
If it helps any, Aya said it's a big deal.
You talked to Aya?
Maybe. Yes. Definitely.
Okay.
Is she mad at us?
Is she hunting us?
Yeah.
She's in a lot of trouble because I won.
Did she say anything about me?
No.
Oh, I guess that's good.
Are you sad?
Well, I mean, I was the one that bald-faced lied to her. Sort of lied to her. I did tell her where the box was. No, I lied to her.
You lied.
I don't like lying to people. It's not my thing.
Wow.
Are you lying? Because
no, I'm not. Faye doesn't like lying to people. She tries to make things as close to the truth as she can to get away with it. So for her own conscience, she doesn't. She's not like. It's a gray thing. She doesn't like outright like lying to people in malicious ways. She's okay with like little lies and like cheating at cards. Those are all fine. But like, I'm going to tell you a thing that's going to put you in danger. That she doesn't feel good about, and she knew she did that. But she's like, "You're also a badass assassin, so I hope like you can take care of yourself.
You'll be okay."
You'll probably be.
She works for a guild of badass assassins, so.
Right? And she took all her assassin mooks, so I wasn't too worried. But I wouldn't have done that to somebody else. I wouldn't have sent somebody else that like could have actually gotten caught or in danger. Or I wouldn't say I wouldn't, but I wouldn't normally. She if under anybody under enough duress will do anything, but Faye is not that type of person necessarily. Okay, yeah. No, where's your friend?
Yeah, Theron is close by. He on his ship with.
Are we going to the church ship?
Well, yes. I mean, it's not the church ship. It is.
In this sector, it pretty much is.
A church ship. It's kind of the biggest one here, but yes.
Hold on a second. I gotta go say like 9 years worth of my Hail Marys.
Great.
Lauren, you try not to be too embarrassed by us.
As a point of note, just so like Lauren, you grew up with the church and you know a lot of their practices, and you've seen both some of their most zealous members and some of their more lax members, as well as normal people who only pay lip service and some who are actually faithful. So you've had a wide range of experiences, and you've lived in a much larger scope of life here, right?
Yeah.
So the question that I have for the other two of you now, the church is often known for hunting mystics and heretics and people that carry artifacts, and they're actually kind of scary in the low life circles.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that they're not as scary in the Procyon sector is because there are so many low lives that they outnumber them.
Nice.
So it's obvious that some of you have very different feelings, and I just kind of want to get a sense. Maybe what is a rumor or two, or maybe what is an encounter that you may have had with something like this. So Faye, you seem a little spooked. Is there an experience, or is this just like hearsay, or is it?
Yes, my adopted papa had a sort of black bag moment that he did not talk about, but that nevertheless very much shaped his life. He was a local small town preacher, and he said something that was heretical maybe, and he was like a preacher of the people kind of thing. Like he was not affiliated with the church per se, or he wasn't like a church official by any stretch. And after a sermon that he gave, he disappeared for a week, and we had no idea where it was.
So like an actual churchite from like the bigger like cathedrals or whatever showed up.
That's what Faith thinks.
All right, cool.
You don't know, because he would never talk about it. He came back looking haggard and completely changed his sermons, and every time they ever mentioned the church, he like flinched and gave her these words of warning. So
awesome.
She doesn't know because he wouldn't tell her, but she just thinks it's bad.
So Baz, I can tell you at least one scary story, but do you have a story of your own similar to that to share, or?
I think Baz's point of reference is that the church is kind of just a pain in the butt because they take away really useful tools from people who are trying to work. Right? Like they're just overly involved in things that they don't know anything about. They got a lot of nice intentions and ideas, and they're in the way, so go away.
Yeah, the only story that I have to tell you is the Eshen knives oftentimes use artifacts as part of their assassination routines. Because it lets them bend rules, right? Like artifacts do weird stuff, and sometimes that weird stuff lets you do things like phase through walls or something.
I need some of that.
In particular, the church usually uses legal means to provide pressure, but there was one particularly bad artifact that they kind of got a bug up their butt about. They actually sent one of their bruisers, and there's a
church bruiser.
Actually, this one has a name. So the thing is that the Church of the Stellar Flame actually has a couple of subdivisions and orders. That's her name, Battle Sister Diana.
Oh hell yeah!
Battle scarred, exosuited, unstoppable, and merciless are her.
Oh no!
Her little tags. So this badass chick that's actually fought in the hegemonic wars kind of person showed up. Basically punched through people and walls until she got a hold of whoever it was that had that artifact and just tackled her. And then we never heard from her again, because that's the kind of thing that happens sometimes. But it was a really bad artifact, the kind of thing that like left like walls out of phase and like people like trapped in them and stuff like that. And so, I mean, maybe the Shen knives thought that it was perfectly legit, but clearly she disagreed, and she's the one with the power armor. So
she gets to say.
That's the only true horror story where like the church wasn't like sending cops after people and harassing them and trying to catch them and stuff like that. Like this is the only one where like the church actually was just like, and this is our might kind of story that you've heard.
Cool.
Mine was a much more mundane.
Well, it's also very personal, which is super awesome. So thanks for that. Anyway, so with these fun notes, you folks set coordinates, blast off, head for a different waypoint entrance, and you pass through one of those rings, translate into hyperspace. Your shield forms that little bubble as you're like zooming along. And I just want to play a tiny little scene because this is a thing. Like in the show, we see a different ship docking, and we see a crew of 3 people walking into the dockmaster's room. And one of them was is a woman wearing essentially like a cop's uniform. One of them is our friend in the black outfit with the black helmet.
Core.
Yes, right. And the third one is Zeno that you haven't seen before. So this is a totally new character, right? And we know very little about them. But they walk into the dockmasters, and the woman looks at him and basically says, "We're going to need to see records on the docking of ship registration number." And she reads off a registration number piloted by, and she uses whatever moniker you had, like Stacy Mumbai or whatever you. I don't remember, Jory.
Sure.
I think it's Stacy Mulligan.
Stacey Mulligan, yes.
I really like Stacy Mulligan. I'm kind of a fan of that.
Captain Mulligan. And the dockmaster is like, you're local system police, so, you know, you have no authority here. This is under the jurisdiction of the Star Shapers Guild. And you can't just simply, and then he just stops. And you see like that black helmet turn around to look at him, and you see like obviously like blood start pouring out of his nose as he's like kind of like twitching. And you just see the system cop walk around, pull up some information, and goes, Dret, I think we just missed them. And we'll just cut back to you guys translating straight out of a different
Shane's
hyperspace
party in
gate.
the cockpit.
Yeah.
So you folks come out, and you know there's the star that is Rin, and for a second the whole world is light, right? Like it's just burning super bright. You're way closer. Like you're not actually that close to the star, but it's just so much closer than you usually are. And so like, you know, you drop the filters on all of your like on all of your ports and everything.
Put on our ship shades.
And then your personal shades too, because you're like way closer than you should be to the star. And the only thing that's providing kind of like a shadow spot as you're heading towards it is actually this giant ship, and it has like a long, thin, facing towards you kind of body, and behind it, it's got this fan, right? Like it's got these like giant solar panels and these crystals that refract the light and scatter it. It's beautiful to look at, and obviously interacts with the light of the star itself. The ship itself is called the Way of Light, and it is very, very large because it is actually a battle cruiser. So it is like 4 size categories larger than your ship. So you'll be docking with it much like you did with a station.
Cool.
Awesome. I think like in the filmed version of this, we like come out of the tube, the space tube. And then there's all this light that happens and you see those things go down, and then you have one shot of me kind of like meditating with my eyes closed in an unfiltered beam of light. It's like that this is my faith that we're coming to.
That's kind of amazing. Do you have one of the little star-shaped medallions?
I do, and I think I usually wear it under my shirt, but you can see it in that shot.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
If it's okay for me to add a bit, when we like the camera sees that, it zooms back a little bit and it looks at like Faye looking kind of over her shoulder at you, and then she looks at Boz. And if looks could convey this, and Boz is good at reading people, Faye is sending the signal of, are we sure we can trust Lauren?
Yeah, and my eyes sort of flick to the big ship we're approaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
perfect. Right, like I just had this like not scared but concerned look, and yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Awesome. So we dock, or we request a dock.
Oh yeah.
Should we pick a plan? I think we're going on a
Is
squad.
this a job? Because honestly, I thought it was just a gather information role.
I think
and some role play.
I don't feel like it's a job because no one has hired us to do anything. I'm just
this is a go see your scary friends.
Well, sometimes it's a job if you plan to kidnap someone or steal something. But as far as I know, you folks are here under no false pretenses, and you are just seeing a friend who has already agreed to see you and has been acquired as an asset.
All right.
Yes.
Am I right?
You're
Yes.
right. You're right.
Which is to say, Faye and I might be like standard runaways. Yep, check.
Yeah.
It's a yellow day.
So again, there's like a docking sequence. You guys get a berth. You attach your little ship. As soon as you come out of the airlock, obviously, Theron is there to meet you. One of the things that you folks might notice, just because the camera lingers on it for a split second, one of the ways that Churchites demonstrate their faith is they put a brand on their body called the Kiss of Light, and he has one on the back of his neck, just like above where the little bone is.
he's a badass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have these like giant metal seals with like the shape on it. But it's so yeah, you know, he smiles and definitely is a little less churchy than most Churchites. Like some of them are very severe, some of them are very serious, but he smiles, you know, and you know, the two of you are, I assume Lauren's in front, right?
Yeah. So I think I like go straight to him and I like grasp his hands in my hands, which is a church gesture, but also a gesture of friendship. And you see me without the oil that I sometimes put on. Like I'm genuinely happy to see this person, and it's clear that like that the connection I have with him is not just of a reporter and a contact, but of people who have a real relationship. And it's kind of a rare moment of me being in my element and being genuine. Yeah.
Cool.
Super jealous.
He'll actually smile, and it's genuine, and there's warmth. Actually, it's kind of warm on this ship to begin with. As a matter of fact, they all very obsessed with light, so there's actually a lot of like lenses and crystals that are actually filtering the star's natural light into rooms to use it to, and you see it like running along. They have those like
fiber optic
cables, and they're actually streaming pure sunlight through the ship, and it seems to like the ship itself seems to have a heartbeat. That's
a thrum.
Yep.
Faye flips up her collar, almost as though she tried to cover the back of her neck.
Right.
And then does everything she can to like sidle to whatever shadowy corner, and she's just like really uncomfortable because there isn't any, and she's just like, and she tries not to look too awkward as she's just very uncomfortable in this space.
He calls you, he guides you along a path, and you do see some people, but he takes you to what is essentially like it's like a cafeteria, but it's large. And I mean, this is a battle cruiser, so it's supposed to like house a lot of people. So imagine being at a food court at a mall, except that there's maybe only like a fraction of the people that should be there. This ship is obviously very undermanned. It has nothing but a skeleton crew for a battle cruiser. And it's obvious that they don't have the kind of resources that they do closer to the core worlds. But he actually wastes time on niceties. And he does have some of your favorite space caviar.
Yes.
So he takes some time to bring everyone along and, sit you folks down at a table. And you'll actually occasionally see people come over and like wait courteously for a minute to address him. It's obvious that he still has some like minor tasks left in the day before he's free. They seem to like want some reports, and actually a lot of them are messages for his superior. So like, he is actually the second in command for Alana, who's like the head of the church here, and so like he's essentially like getting secretarial information to like pass up kind of stuff. So all things said and done, he's going to essentially feed you and talk to you for like about an hour or so, unless anybody stops him or tries to get him to the point faster. He's just being a courteous host.
Right. Oh.
And I think in this time, like you see Lauren relax and Lauren tells a story. Like you all sit down for space caviar, and I think Boz and Faye are a little bit like, I don't know what that is, and also like I don't know.
I think Faye's gonna mess it up. I think I'm sorry, Jory. I think Faye is like, when you start telling the story, she's gonna be like, all right, can we get to the fact? Like, she's just really uncomfortable, and she's even more uncomfortable because you're comfortable here. Like, it's freaking her out that like not only is she not in her element, but clearly you are, and she's like, wait, where are we? Like, whose side are you on? And so I don't want to cut off your story, Jory, but I don't want to. But like,
I think that
Faye cuts off Lawrence's story.
But yeah.
Well, does Lauren actually like? I mean, do you counter this? Do you talk Faye down?
Well, I think Lauren had kind of almost forgotten why he was there, and so he has this moment of like looking up at Faye and like you can see that he's actually hurt by this in a way that you haven't really seen him emotionally affected by most anything. But then he's like, oh no, Faye's right. So he turns to Theron and says, Theron, thank you so much. Your hospitality is so welcome in this desolate end of space. It's so good to see a kind face. But we have some urgent, pressing matters to talk about, and it'd be best if we could do them in private.
Very well. He actually asks if you want to do it aboard your ship or if you want to come to his quarters and do it there.
Yeah, let's go on our ship.
Let's go to your quarters. I think we say that at the same
Same.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I more assertively say, your quarters, please.
Very well. So
Say it's okay.
he'll
Until it's not.
he'll stand up, and as you get up from the table and go to leave, you'll see like a little Urbot trundle over and start clearing the table for you folks. And he takes you. No, that's interesting. He just treats it like a machine. It's a Roomba. It's cleaning up the room, and
Mhm.
make it
Right. And
Um,
Boz thinks it, yeah.
but I think that he takes you back, and his quarters are like 4 or 5 rooms conjoined. They're actually pretty big
Mhm.
because he's essentially the equivalent of like a first mate. Like he's got pretty spacious
Sure.
quarters. I mean, it is a battle cruiser, so like the quarters aren't like vast, but he's got like a small central room, and then he's got a bedroom and a separate bathroom and a couple of other things like that. And his like central room actually has like a library, like it's got several shelves with like books and holy texts on it. He's got like
Mhm.
he's got his like formal robes for when he's actually like preaching laid out and things like that. And so he invites you in. He has like a big table with like stacks of papers and like a couple of it's not relics, but it's a couple of relics from like the church and stuff like that, like sitting around. And he tells you to sit down, make yourselves comfortable, and he sits down at his table and says, all right, so what is this business that you don't want to talk about over comms?
And I take out, I think we've put the box in basically like a lunchbox, a little metal lunchbox, something that we had,
Nice.
which is not super secure, but it keeps it from touching us.
Faint indentation of like some space cartoon on the edge.
I was
but,
gonna say, like, this is like something Boz got out of like her closet.
yeah.
In my imagination.
It's like Scooby Doo sort of like, but just barely visible, like in
Yeah,
like
it's
dented
Space
into the
Dog.
middle. Space Dog.
It's Space Poodle, action hero.
Nice.
Awesome. So I take that out and I put it on the table and I say, we've come into possession of this artifact and we're just wondering what you can tell us about it. And as I do that, I open it up.
I want to stop you. I like slam my hand onto the thing before you open it up.
Ooh.
Are you like super fast, or can Faye like get her hand on it before you open it up?
I think maybe you get your hand on it, but I think I'm stronger than you are.
You're totally stronger than me. You can absolutely force it open.
Yeah. So I think you slam your hand on it, close it. I don't force it open. I grab your hand and remove your hand.
All right. I fight for a second because I want to think. I'm like, wait, what assurances do we have that you're not just going to take this thing? I'm talking to. No, I'm talking to Taryn. Theron. What assurances do we have that you're not just going to take this thing from us and worse, prosecute us as some criminals for having found this artifact?
Theron looks at you with some bemusement and he goes like, as to taking it away, you have none. But clearly you are friends of my friend, and it is obvious that you have done your diligent duty as hegemonic citizens and come to an official source for this. So if this artifact is dangerous, I am sure that it is in everyone's best interest if the church takes care of it. But if it is not, well then you've already done your duty. So there is nothing to be afraid of in terms of that.
I would like, and at this point, like, that's all I needed. Like, I just needed to object. Faye she didn't want, she wasn't going to actually stop this from happening, but she needed to object.
Needed to pretend to have control.
But I do want to study him. I want to see if he's lying to me. Actually, one of us have the ability, I think, to know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
Lauren knows immediately if a person's lying, and he's being genuine. Among other things, the church teaches that lies darken the soul, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not saying anything wrong. Like, church takes away artifacts that it considers that you shouldn't have, and he also is being perhaps friendly. Like, there's just it's not a lie so much as at this point your reaction is making him a little suspicious.
Sure. That would make sense.
It's mostly suspicious in the sense that he's like, yeah, it sounds like you've been touching this artifact too much. We might need to make sure you're clean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it hasn't escalated to like you're a monster and you need to be purged. It's like you might need to be bathed in holy oils and sit in the light for a while, kind of thing. You know.
All right. Okay. I think that's as far as Faye's going to go at this point. So she.
Cool. So.
And Boz, through all of this, like the more Lauren is comfortable, Boz actually doesn't like necessarily visibly and overtly relax, but like takes great reassurance in that. And like can't do anything to help Faye other than like maybe stick close to you and let you hide behind her. You know what I mean? Like whatever that serves, whatever feels right. But
yeah, I think she stands at your side. She's not. She's afraid, but she's pissed off about it more than she's like the fear is making her angry rather than making her cower.
Fight, not flight.
Yeah.
So I think that there's this moment where Theron says, "Well, shall we see it?"
Yes. So I open. I look at Faye, and Faye is not going to move towards the box this time.
No, she stepped away.
Then I open it for her.
Yeah, nice.
So he looks at it and then nods and then stands up and goes towards his bathroom, and he takes a couple of minutes to do ablutions, right? Like he washes his hands and, you know, he covers them in like holy oil, and he says like some prayers, and then he moves he moves and he sits down at the table, sort of like cracks his knuckles and like puts his hands above it and just sits there for a good like minute or two. Like just long enough that it's getting a little uncomfortable. And at that point, you know how like in your ship, when people mess with precursor artifacts, lights start to fizzle and go out? Well, it seems that in this ship, the lights start to like intensify and glow, right? Like that solar light is actually being pulled in. And for a second in the TV show of this game, obviously the camera rests behind him and we actually see the seal on the back of his neck start glowing as if it's going red hot. And then he reaches in and picks up the box, and when he opens his eyes, instead of seeing space and like the pinpricks of darkness like you do before, you just see like the light of a star. And he turns it for a while. Now the rest of you looking actually see star maps and charts appear on the box itself.
Okay.
And he turns it a bunch of times, and then he sets it back down in the box and closes his eyes, and like all the lights return back to normal, and it takes another minute to come out of his attunement.
Sure. While he's handling it, is the star map that we see on the box itself discernible enough? I mean, like, is the pixel resolution good enough that we could get a decent? Because Faye's never really looked at it.
Right.
I would like to study it if that's possible, to see if I can recognize any.
Yeah, roll some dice, and I'm gonna roll some dice for him so that I see how well he finds out. Let me make a quick fortune roll for you folks, just to see. So he's gonna count as a friend. Well, actually,
well, we could do a group action study.
No. You can go ahead and study. I'm just rolling to see what he gets. Excuse me, what he gets out of the box.
Sure.
All right, this is what I'm gonna give him. I'm going to give him a fortune roll. You go ahead and roll your study, please.
Right.
You are going to find out different information.
Awesome.
He's not.
I was going to say different ways of knowing.
Can I have a devil's bargain if I touch it?
No, it's not going to harm you, particularly not with him controlling it. So.
Okay. Or do you have a different devil's bargain you could offer me?
You folks are lucky. He finds out some things, but not everything. All right, that sounds great. Do I have a different devil's bargain? Man, there's so many actually. If you want, you can kind of become obsessed with this thing. It does have a I mean, you would get like essentially a compulsion.
Yeah.
Which we can discuss mechanically what that means, but
sure. I'd go for that.
Okay.
I'd also go for pissing Theron off, but I don't know that I'm gonna do that any more than I would have otherwise, just by my general attitude. So yeah, that sounds good. Let's start my obsession clock or whatnot.
Yes, I actually have a cool new clock mechanism. So let me put it on the sheet here. I'm going to call this maybe the voice of the box. Is that cool?
Sounds great. Yeah.
And you're gaining a compulsion to listen to it and to do stuff for it. So
Can't we just give it a chassis?
here we go. I'm gonna move it here, make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. Oop.
I didn't see it. Oh, there it is.
There.
Cool.
Can you drag it down a little further? It's outside of the
Sure, yeah, no problem.
screen
Just
people
give me a
to see.
second. I'm just gonna put a tick. Actually, I'm gonna put 2 ticks on it here. There you go.
Gotcha.
How's that? Is that cool?
Love it.
I'm gonna.
Not good.
So is this a 6-tick clock?
Yep.
And there's 2 on it now. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Stained glass pizza.
So great.
There you go.
All right. I'll take that. Is anyone else interested in studying this thing?
Yeah. I'm interested in the thing, but I'm really interested in Theron's like process. Like, what is he doing? More than maybe the box in the minute.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you a couple of things. Just
Yeah.
looking at him, and actually, I'm gonna give you. Do you have a tune?
Yep.
If you want, you can roll a tune. This is just a gather info roll, so you're not
Totally.
gonna. There's no threat to you if all you're studying is Theron.
Yeah. That's the sum of my.
So I'm gonna tell you a thing about this game. In this game, there are things called abilities and permissions, and one of the things that means is you can learn to be things and do things outside of the scope of the core playbooks. And one of the things that you can be is a churchite. So what Theron is doing is actually different than most of the basic mystic traditions or just people that are attuned strong, etc., which everyone is to some extent, potentially. Even at 0 dice, you have a chance, right?
Yeah.
But Theron is actually trained, and he's trained in a different discipline. And so why don't you give me a quick attune fortune roll, and then Sean, I will give you your study roll.
Cool. Sounds good.
Your roll, however, is slightly risky, though, Sean.
I was hoping for that.
Okay.
Right. Where did?
So if you click on attune.
Oh, got it.
And then I think if you're making a fortune roll, normally we just do a controlled standard effect. It's the position and the effect are sort of immaterial.
That's fine.
Because
All right. Controlled standard.
Yep.
No bonus dice. Onesies. Oh,
No, actually, so the thing is, when you gather information,
Yeah.
the kind of information you get depends on how much you can learn.
Okay.
And what you realize is that what he's doing is very, like, when you look at somebody else who's attuning, you have to attune to a specific thing, right? So, like, you are attuning to the way, and he is attuning to something else. He's attuning essentially to, like, the light within the star itself, and he's using the star to clear his vision and give him like a
Wow.
better perception, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you don't learn a lot because it is so alien to you. He's
Neat.
connecting to the universe with a different puzzle piece.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. The configuration and the way of doing is
Cool.
Odds is very excited about that very quietly.
Yeah, and the reason he's so strong is because they're so close to the star, and also their ship is a little wonky and it does stuff.
magnifies that.
Yep.
Sure.
So you imagine that if he was stuck out in the void where stars are but pinpricks, trying to leave with that faint starlight might drive him mad with this technique. But here he's almost at the center of his power, so it's the easiest for him, right?
Cool.
So Sean, did you
Yeah.
want to roll your study?
Yeah. And I think, you said he's turning it over, and I'm getting this compulsion clock that I'm taking it as a devil's bargain. So I think I'm looking at it. I get a little closer, and I'm looking at it, and just sort of like unconsciously at one point when he's about to turn it over, they just keeps doing this. Sorry, when he's about to turn it over, she grabs it so she can keep looking at the thing for another second. Like she was like watching this thing, and she was studying it, and then he was about to turn it, and she's like, no. So like I actually interrupt it for just a second to be like, okay, I got it, and we'll see in that moment if anything goes wrong. But that's what I'm rolling. So I'm doing nope, that's Maz. I'm doing study. Hey, what's my position?
Risky.
Risky. What's my effect?
Standard.
Cool. Bonus. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Take
you don't
that.
get any more texts, and you don't piss off the church egg. Good job.
Yes.
Uh,
And we get a gambit because I got a
oh yeah, you do.
Oh my
I got a
goodness.
6 on a risky. Oh, 6 on
Well, here's the bad news though. Once you start the job, the gambit's reset to 3. So, but at least you have a gambit for right
I got
now.
a gambit right now.
That's right.
Spend it.
So what happens is you start seeing. Do you know how like in a lot of I don't know, like movies and whatever, you see stars and then you actually see like constellation patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you start seeing the lines making up the actual constellation patterns and things like that. And like looking at it, you realize that some of the lines are a different color, and you realize that this is actually really rare information, by the way, is the fact that some of them are actually gate travel lines. So nobody actually like figuring out where a system is in relation to another system is actually kind of complicated because a lot of times you don't really have frames of reference.
You just go through a gate and you pop out, but you don't know how that actually connects.
So they figured out where some systems are, but not all systems because the gates aren't necessarily
Oh wow.
logical.
Okay. Sure.
And so you start realizing he's going to say, okay, so let me say what he says and I'll fill in certain blanks for you. Is that cool, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what he says is when he sets the box down and he puts it back in the lunchbox, he says, I think it's just a map. Although, what does a precursor need with a map? What is a map to? And that's his 4 on his study. He figured out what it was, but not exactly why it was, right?
Cool.
And he seems a little confused. And he says, but to you, you start putting some pieces together and you realize that more importantly than just star systems, there's also like planets and stuff. And like the more you study it and the more you focus on it, the more it's almost like you can zoom in kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you realize that it's actually
Enhance.
like zoom.
It works in this world.
I totally put my finger on it and do the.
That's what a zoom does. Zoom enhance.
I just keep zooming in.
Right.
That's why you're compulsed.
Yeah.
And actually the thing that you're feeling a compulsion for is to go specific places, right? But more importantly for you, you realize that there's a couple of planets in the local systems. And what you're actually seeing is kind of a universe, like a galactic level view of where those systems are in relation to each other.
Yeah.
So in human terms, like when we as scientists in the real world talk about sectors, what we mean is like draw a galaxy, make a little pie chart. Okay, this is a sector, right? But in their world, they're not connected linearly. So containing planets in a pie chart physically is completely useless.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they divide sectors by the branching of the gates. And what you're realizing, the reason this is not a really easy puzzle is because a lot of the systems are actually very separated physically in space, but it looks like certain systems and certain planets are like lighting up. So it's basically, for lack of a better term, this is a space story with space pirates. This is a treasure map.
Treasure map.
Yep, exactly. I think that is why it that's perfect, because that's why it's compelling to Faye. It's not because it's an mystic item. It's not because it's like weird cryptic stuff. It's because it's a treasure map, and she's like, it doesn't know where it goes, but it's gonna go somewhere. So
it's gonna be amazing, and
yeah.
With
all the ship upgrades.
Faye having studied this box in this way, does she now just like inherently have that understanding of where things are in relation?
At least a little bit. And I'm sure that she can tell the rest of you, or the rest of you can perform the same action, and we can do it in downtime. So we can make a little long-term project to actually attune more closely and zoom and enhance and get clues to where the next piece is or some nonsense.
Cool.
But yes, Faye does get a little bit. So that clock also means that Faye is growing closer to the box, and consequently the box is now starting to, let me just put it this way, the next time Faye has a nightmare, the walls of the Stardancer or wherever you are will probably be covered in stars and certain constellations that will recognize
Oh,
you.
great. Awesome. Awesome. I love learning new
Now
things
you're the
and meeting new
space
people.
lamp. Yay.
Oh. Faye the space lamp. So cute.
That's my new alias.
Just
Very
think of it.
intimidating.
You're a beacon. You're a guiding light, a lantern in the dark.
Oh, there you go. The
Yeah.
church loves you.
Yeah.
So he sets it down and he says, "It's not exactly." He goes, "It's not exactly entirely safe, but I don't think that it's terribly prescribed." He's like, "Do you want me to put it in our?" He looks right at Lauren and he says, "Do you want me to put it in our vaults?"
Oh no, thank you. I think if it's not too dangerous, we'll keep it in this box and move it along to the person that it is intended for.
He looks at the box with slight distaste and he says, "Let me get you something that's maybe just a tiny bit safer."
Okay, all right.
And he goes and he pulls out and he brings over and it's like essentially like a small lead-lined safe with like secret seals and shit attached to it. And he sets it down like it's a lunchbox essentially. And he's just like,
Yeah.
And he like puts it in there and closes it and he goes like, "There, now it should be safe."
Great.
So yeah, I mean, he's gonna push it across the table back to you.
He grabs it.
Yeah, and I think I thank him profusely and as we kind of start to walk, Faye is like clutching this tiny safe
no,
now.
actually, as a point of note, he was carrying it very easily. Like this dude's a little cut. If you pick it up, this thing is like, it's like lifting like I don't know, 50 to 100 pounds or something. Like it's not. It's like maybe 30, 40 pounds of weight, but it's not like you can't just like pick it up and like have, like he was carrying it like it was a lot lighter than it was. But when you try and pick it up, it kind of does like ooh, like
so I think Faye grabs the handle and is like, ugh, and is like, and then puts two hands on it and like pulls it up like dumbbell style. So she's like, got it, like, okay,
And then,
all right.
but how would I do that?
Oh, that's a good idea.
And meanwhile, Lauren and this dude are kind of like flowing forward.
Yeah, we're being kind of chummy, being like,
Yeah.
oh, blah, blah, blah. Last time I see you. Next time, let's like get gelato on wherever.
Face gelato.
Yeah. I'll trade you for the space poodle lunchbox. By the way, so you mind the space poodle lunchbox, and I'll carry the big box. Let the two of you drift forward and actually chat, since Faye's anxiousness made it not possible.
I think that there's some slight. This is not a forcing, but like he's kind of proud of his position. He says like, "Oh, you need to visit again. I'll introduce you to Alana." It's basically like saying like you get to be like a archbishop or something. Like she's super important and cool, and she's my boss. Don't you want to meet her? But like of course he's like totally smooth and charming about it. But it's this church geek. Right?
Church geek, like, but like also kind of like chic.
Yeah. So unless you folks have some major shtick aside from this, you're gonna make it back to your boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna try and herd Faye that way without Faye doing anything else abrupt and.
Well, I was contemplating saying, well, never mind. I was gonna say I want to steal something of his, but
And as soon as you get that gleam in your eye, I just look at you.
Like he's paying all his attention to Laura, and they're off gossiping. Faye has like this real compulsive desire to take something of his, just to take it away from him. Like not because she wants his stuff, but it's just like to take.
Punish them for having fun.
What?
Punish them for having fun? Like
no,
without you?
Punish him for all his
excess.
For his excess, yeah.
Okay.
But I think Laz like finds Faye like stopping in the room before they leave, like looking around at his stuff, and like kind of like like draws her fingers over like these various curios and relics and papers and whatnot, and just like just turns like one like you can see like a little bit of dust is on one, like it hasn't moved in a while. She like just twists it a little bit, like just like just a little like. Ha! Like you're perfectly aligned little idols. I just tweak one a little bit, and then she's just bitter. She just doesn't like this guy because of the church. It's not like she has a reason to do this.
I wonder if maybe there is a little bit. So I think she thinks that it's just because she doesn't like the guy, but I think there also is some jealousy about how easily Lauren gets along with him.
Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes. There's all of that indeed as well. Yeah.
So good.
So it's totally jealousy of all of his position, of your relationship. Yeah. So she's just jealous and spiteful and being bitter, but doesn't know how to express it. So
yeah. Oh, Faye.
She does it by like messing up his stuff in like the most minor of ways because she doesn't want to get caught and thrown in church jail.
Yeah.
Go to church jail, Faye.
They don't have church jail. They have reform school.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. They have church jail.
Church jail. They might call it reform school. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I bet they do.
They probably do. They have definitely.
Go to reforms.
Yes. Yeah, I think that as you're ushering out, and this is related to something completely different, but it seems to be on point. As you know, Baz is like strong arming the safe onto the boat, and after the goodbyes with Lauren have been said, as Faye goes to like step across, Theron just puts one hand on your shoulder, and leans in real close.
Who's doing this to?
Faye.
Faye, he's doing it to me?
Oh yeah.
Oh gee.
And leans in real close, just like real quick and real subtle. And like looks right at you, and if you meet his gaze, you see a flicker of that light in his eyes. And what he says is, "Stay away from temptation," and then just lets go and like moves back like it's not even a thing. And he's all smiles and everything else again.
I want to convince. This is perfect. I want to convince him that he has completely terrified me because it's not that far from the truth, and that I am reformed by this experience. I look at him and I'm just like, my father would have told me to obey your every command. Like it's like to obey you. Like this is like a part truth thing where it's like my father would have told me to obey you and obey the light, which is true, but it's out of fear, not out of like respect and love. I totally want him to believe that like he has me cowed and I will never be a threat to him and never, I want to lie.
Well, that's obvious this way. But I'm debating whether this is risky or desperate. I feel like it's not controlled. He has dealt with enough. He used to be a heretic. Right? He was a space mystic and he believed that the church was bad and he fought against them until he saw the light.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's not easily fooled by such light words and quick changes of heart because he knows exactly what a difficult road it is to truly reform.
Yep.
But
if it's possible, though,
can I give you a? I feel like this is it's probably risky limited effect.
That's
because what you'll convince him of isn't that you'll never be a problem again, but that maybe he has genuinely scared you and you'll consider twice next time.
Right. I think that's all I'm going for is that I want to convince him that I'm scared. I'm terrified of him. Not that I like have found the light, but just like
no. But I will never be a problem again.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to sell him on.
Oh yeah.
I am scared and will doubt myself and actually consider whether I want to do bad things the next time I'm tempted. It's totally a thing you might be able to get away with.
Cool. Yep. That's what I want.
We also have an extra gambit.
Yeah, I want to spend it.
Okay.
Let's spend it right now.
Nicely done, Jory.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So I'm rolling my sway. It's risky, limited, and I got a bonus die. All right. Partial success. Succeed, but the risk comes to pass. Gambit die, you did not help me.
Gambit die did good. It's support. What is
Gambit die gave me a 3. Gambit die gets no
Three
lunch.
is a really nice number. There's 3 people on the crew of the Stardancer.
It's true.
Oh.
He's all smiles and joviality again.
Cool.
Great.
I totally did not start a little clock here at all.
Oh.
I'm watching you.
No pizza
Awesome.
clock.
No
Awesome.
pizza clock.
Well, so are you saying that are you saying that I have reduced effect, so I have 0 effect, and also there's a consequence of him
No.
having a clock on me?
There's the only consequence is that you're like, hey, you rolled a 5, right?
Yeah.
So on a 5, you do the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going
Right.
to take that away from you. So he definitely gets you're definitely like, listen, I'm spooked, and maybe the next time I'll do the right thing. I'm so sorry. I'm out.
Yeah.
And what he actually gets from that is probably, but I best keep an eye on this one.
Great.
Mm.
Awesome.
Friends.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just totally making your friendships really easy.
Yeah.
So good.
So I'm thinking to cut to a shot from prior to that happening. So just prior to that, like Boz is on the ship getting things ready to go. Lauren is like shaking Theron's hand and gives him a little gift, which is one of the luxury items that I have. So we see that I have passed him this box, and we have like a nodding exchange where it seems like, oh, this is just like how they do. They understand. It's cool.
Right.
Then, so Lauren turns to go on the ship. This thing happens with Faye. And then after that, Faye goes onto the ship, and we see like the door of the ship closing up. And then we see Theron opening the box, and it's like red velvet interior, and it's like a cupcake on the inside.
Yay.
Nice.
And
Is
then
there like a little seal to like preserve the cupcakes so it's stale? Like
No,
a little airlock.
It's just
I
that
might have
fresh.
made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you did. You're
Nice.
definitely a chef, and a cake is a luxury item for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. I think we're gonna call it there for tonight. I think we're for time. So we're gonna do XP and such, and we're gonna think about and jump into jobs for next time. Does that
Nice.
sound good?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that we got XP during downtime as well.
Get XP per session.
Yep.
Okay.
So whether you so if you do a job at downtime and a job, you get 2 payouts, but you only get 1 set of XP no matter what.
Oh, okay.
That's how it goes. But I
Yeah.
think you're killing it on XP this time, Lauren. I'm just telling you right now.
Well,
just-
thanks.
So why don't we actually start with you, since you're already on the spot and volunteering here.
Great.
What's your first XP trigger?
Every time I roll a desperate action, which I did not do, I addressed a tough challenge with deception or influence. Well, I don't think I deceived anyone, but a lot of what I did was
Yeah, you
influence.
totally used your influence. I mean, Theron was there and gave us information and helped us because of your connection with him.
Mhm.
So at least 1 XP is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go for 2?
There was certainly Theron was a big one.
I feel like
I-
Theron gave you guys information and didn't put too many strings on you, and I feel like it's kind of a big impactful
Yeah.
question, right? What is the
Yeah.
box? What does it do? How do we use it? And I feel like particularly that is a very large problem, and it was handled with a lot of influence, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
I-
found a contact, you schmoozed him, you got him to give you the information, you got everyone off the ship safely.
I
Yeah,
was going to say there's the other part of
Yeah.
being reliable in the eyes of Faye and Boz.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is that conversation on the hammock where Boz confronted you about, spending the money without talking to us about us, and you earnestly saying like, I will try to do better, and
Yeah.
Boz giving you the thumbs up at the end, like, okay, let's see it. So
I feel like that's more of the next thing that I have, which is I express my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
2
That-
XP, 100%.
here's the secret: you cheat and get it on both.
Whoa.
yeah, so both kind of showing who I was in that way, and
Yeah.
I think you crushed it on
Yeah.
that second one, the heritage background beliefs and such.
Yeah.
Particularly the fact that you're willing to spend the crew money, to get the food. We got to see you actually use influence to also win companionship for a night, and also you managed to do some awesome churchside stuff with very scary people while navigating it very well and keeping your crew safe to some extent. So it was your beliefs, drives, and your heritage were all over this session. I feel like.
I totally agree.
We can only give you 2 XP though for that. So,
But
Wonderful.
Take them.
And then the next one is struggled with my issues from my vice or traumas during the session. I mean, my vices, luxury and pleasure were, I mean, entirely what got us into the situation where we didn't have money to pay for ship repairs. And I feel like my night with the sex worker was a vice of mine, but actually didn't cause any trouble. So I don't know if
but I feel like maybe you won XP because your food did cause trouble for the ship, right?
Yeah.
That's very true.
We got into a fight, food got thrown in each other's faces, right?
Yeah.
Like
Just
I
one
mean,
face.
it doesn't necessarily have to cause trouble. You could have just struggled with it, but it seemed like the night with this that wasn't a struggle either. It wasn't like something you doubted or anything like that. You were just like, yeah, this is my comfort zone. So
Look, a mattress. Thank goodness.
yeah, but the food, oh my god, so much.
Yeah, so good.
So what I'm hearing is 5 XP total to put anywhere you want, right?
So it sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Andy, do you want to go next?
Sure. Let's do that thing. Let's see. So the first thing is roll a desperate action, which none of that came to pass because
Downtimes are usually like that.
pretty low key. I mean, this time, sort of. And then
Church jail, but
well, that's another thing. No church jail, please no. So you address a tough challenge with force or threats, and I don't know that Boz was real threat. Like, there's a whole lot of reaching out and talking to Aya, but I don't think there's a whole lot of threatening. I'm trying to think.
I think you made a very strong impression of Lauren that if he didn't shape up, he wasn't part of the crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Very much so.
I mean, I
Sure.
felt like that was what you were saying is like this. You get another chance, but you get another chance, not like
Yeah.
Sure.
So 1 XP there.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the next one?
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
oh, we saw your space family.
It's true.
Oh, that's true.
And I would like to add one more thing. We actually got
Yeah.
to find out a lot about your background with your
With
interaction.
Aya.
We got to see some flashbacks. We got to see your training. We got to see this relationship, which I'm still morbidly curious how that relationship ended up and where it's currently at.
Me too.
So I'm sure that Aya is an NPC that we will see again, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw a lot of Baz there. Do you folks have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think for that's 2.
Yeah, I think that's a strong two.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that implied you're with the crew or not is part of that the expectation of you work actively with us and it's a buy-in, that sort of thing, and you reaching out to Aya about hey, how's it going? Are we okay? So sure, yeah, you're right. We did end up learning a lot about Boz.
Cool. So I feel like since we already talked about it, the last one's kind of a obvious one, but I feel like your vice caused you at least one problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, that's
What?
strong to me.
What is your vice technically?
So I have 2. I have pleasure and I have 3. Excuse me. So
Because
I've got obligation.
everyone gains home cooking as a
cooking.
vice. But go on.
That's
Oh,
right.
home cooking is a vice.
There we go. So we can add that in. But so my vices are obligation. That's to the Cobalt Syndicate. And then pleasure, which I'm still sussing out what that means.
Interesting.
No.
But certainly you struggled with the home cooking in that you started a goddamn fight
That's
in the
right.
middle of dinner.
Not sorry, except I am. I'm sorry.
Apologized.
Sincerely, That was a sincere apology.
Cool. So it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4 XP there.
Yeah. Awesome.
And last but not least, Faye.
Bring it.
All right, let's pull Faye up. Okay. I adjust a tough challenge with charm or audacity.
Did you have a desperate roll?
I did not have a desperate roll. No.
Okay,
You had
it
a
was just
risk.
risky.
Yeah,
Okay.
just risky. Well, I got our ship fixed by cheating a mechanic into
That was
thinking
so
that he had
good.
to fix. He owed me, and then he could pay back what he owed me at hollow cards by fixing the ship. So
Mhm.
yay to that one. I also think I was pretty audacious in the front of Theron. I was like constantly
Yes.
being
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Fuck your shit," and I was like poking him and
Oh, and you like stopped the box in his hand. Just
yes, I feel like
very.
we were in a dad spot and I was making it worse with audacity.
So I feel like you in particular being audacious and pushing yourself mentally into the box and studying it while he was
Mhm.
accessing it is definitely overcoming a tough challenge of not knowing what this box that everyone's willing to kill for is.
Yeah.
So that's one, and yeah, definitely the ship repairs. So that sounds like 2 for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you folks agree?
Yeah,
Mhm.
very much.
Cool. What's next?
You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think a lot of Faye's background comes out partially because she never shuts up and talks about things. But Faye has 2 important things about her background that came out now. One is fear of the church, and the other
Mhm.
one is the desire to never be without. She does not like. She's
Yeah.
not like she needs pleasure or luxury. She just doesn't want to be. She's one of those people that like. If you were like walking out of the house, you'd be like, do you have like $5 on you? Like, cause you should never not be out with, like, she's really nervous about us not having any cash because she feels like we could get stranded and have nothing because
Yeah.
that's a thing. I think there were other bits, but those are the 2 ones that I felt like were important realizations for me about the character. When
Yeah.
I was like, no, we need to do this. Why? Because reasons. So
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
also it's important that your fear of the church is connected so directly through your dad, and that that's an interesting aspect to that relationship you have.
Yeah.
too.
especially since I resent him.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
nevertheless, yeah. So I think and then of course my space nightmares.
Yeah.
So I think I'm calling 2 on that one.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If that's cool with you, Shrash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm totally on board.
Did I struggle with my Easter traumas? I struggled, but I struggled in a very minor way. I struggled when we went out to drinks, and I don't like drinking. And I had my Startini, and it was for show, but it didn't actually materialize in anything. So I'm not gonna take it for that. I was uncomfortable with the fight, but I didn't really do anything about it. So I think
That we've seen.
Yeah, that's true. We did have the conversation and we never flashed back to it. Oh well. I think the conversation was just, you should go apologize to Lauren because you messed up his nice shirt.
I didn't
He has
apologize.
a really nice shirt. You shouldn't throw food at it. If you're gonna get in a fight with Lauren, like punch him in his pretty face or something. Don't mess up his nice shirt.
Faces repair. We don't have a
We don't have a laundry
Food
machine
tailor.
in this thing. Yeah, we don't have a tailor. I think that was the extent of it.
So good.
Great.
Cool. So now that everyone's done, so 4 XP, Sean.
Yep.
You can put it wherever you want. So now that XP is done, we get to do ship XP, crew XP. Yay!
Woohoo!
So,
So
go ahead.
I'm going to max out prowess, and I'm going to take a dot and helm because I always felt weird about our ship pilot not having 2 in helm. So now I have 2 in helm.
Nice.
Cool.
I kind of retroactively wish I'd always had, but luckily we haven't had roll helm yet. So
You did once. You
Yeah.
killed it.
yeah,
You pumped everything you had into it, and you did really well. All right. So, looking at the Stardancer, the triggers are as follows: execute a successful transport or smuggling operation. That didn't happen, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Contend with challenges above your current station.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name some.
Oh gosh.
well,
Excuse
the
me.
church that we
Yeah, I
like
think the
walked
whole
into
church.
their deadly maw that we're like, yeah, sure, let's go hang out with them. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me. I don't know as a crew if the other personal interactions, like with Aya, I mean, the Ashen knives are above our stature, but I don't know if you. I think that was more a personal thing than a crew thing.
It cuts real close, right? But I think that was on the internal communiques versus like faction to crew. So
yeah, I think it's a 1. I don't unless
Cool. No, it's
I think
roughly what I was gauging, but I just wanted to see if you folks had anything in mind.
yeah.
The next one, bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. And your crew's reputation is ambitious.
Yep.
I mean, I think ambitious is appropriate. We're holding on to this magic space rock, and we're not letting it go. I think we showed that to Aya when Boz was like, "Yep, I took it and not giving it up," and that's the deal. And we also showed it to Theron when we're like, "Yep, we're taking this space rock."
So I definitely feel like you guys reaffirmed your ambitiousness. 1 or 2 XP. It's up to you. I don't really get a say here, per se. I mean, I can.
Trying to think if there's any other places where we asserted that sort of ambitiousness.
I mean, I feel like your conversation with Aya and learning the importance of the cube and deciding to keep it is ambitious, as Sean was saying. And then I also think that us just simply going to the church, like taking our rinky-dink little ship and being like, we belong here. It's fine. I feel like that also, and if anyone saw that happening, they'd be like, okay.
Yeah. Also,
right.
why do I keep so on our cruise sheet it says Aelor, a keen eared bar keep, but that's not correct. Aelor isn't their name.
No?
Their name is Siani?
No,
you've got to.
is the info broker. She's at the bottom.
Satani. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, Satani. Okay, cool. Because yes, Satani.
That's right. You are also like, oh no, put them off.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh no, we got this.
That's true.
Take care of it. We'll juggle that.
That's definitely a 2.
And we'll take another job.
Yeah, bring it. Whatever you got.
We'll take the first job that we haven't finished yet and give you the second one. So yeah, I feel like 2.
Okay, there it is. I feel good about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then finally, it's express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. I know what I would vote here, but I'd like to hear your folks.
I will point out individual things. I believe that there's a distinct inner conflict in the crew regarding so many things.
Yeah.
One of them being is our relative lifestyle. Like, how well do we get to live above our means or not? That was clear. And then the other one is where we put our trust. Like, oh yeah, I trust these people, sure. And who Lauren trusts and who Faye and Boz trust, or who all of us trust individually, is all very different. So
this really
2 inner conflicts. Never mind the drives and essential nature. I just saw those.
Sure, it's interesting to keep seeing these sort of like flying V's where you've got 2 people with the shared opinion and a third who doesn't agree, and it kept moving, which I thought was great.
Yeah, we never stalled out, but
Cool. Good.
Yeah, I feel like it's 2, but I'd also throw on in terms of drives. We all clearly like, and we need to make a buck.
That was pretty clear.
Yes.
All right, I'm taking 2, which means we get a crew advance. We got it a while ago, but
so there's a couple of things that happen when your crew ticks over. The first of which is all of you get some stash. Not a whole lot of stash, but it is some stash. So let's we'll do that first. As soon as I scroll up on my document here. I should have been prepared, but I'm not.
We don't hold grudges.
All right, here we go. You gain stash equal to 2 plus crew quality. So your crew quality is 0, so you're each going to get 2 stash.
Okay.
So on your sheets, there should be like a little stash section. You just get 2. Now, just for your knowledge, obviously, you can convert 2 stash to 1 coin. Or 1 cred, sorry.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you can take the stash, which eventually fills up a lifestyle bar, which means that then you can afford something nicer than just a tiny coffin motel whenever you're in port.
Nice.
but you can also make it into a cred, which will be useful in the future.
Wait, so we each individually have
You
two
each
stash?
individually get 2 stash. That's correct.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
And you
just
may
I
choose
just
for-
threw them on your character sheets as well because I was sitting there.
All right, and so the next thing is we're going to talk about. You get one of 4 options. You can get 1 ship quality, which is an upgrade to your engine, hull, comms, or weapons. You can get 1 ship special ability. You can get 1 crew quality, but only if you spend 4 times the new crew quality in cred. So this is not really an option right now. Or you can get 2 upgrades, which is any 2 boxes amongst modules and or ship crew upgrades.
wow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
So I would say the
It's
crew
not all
upgrade
of those. It's one of those 4 options.
yeah, the crew
Sure.
option really isn't an option, so we can take that one out.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. So there's
So-
3 remaining.
We could upgrade our hull, engines, comms, or weapons, which I don't think we have any reason to right now. I mean, upgrading them would allow us to add in other stuff, but we already have 1 spot open in hull, so we can already add a hull upgrade right now. We don't need to increase it.
Crew quarters are a whole upgrade, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yes,
they are a hull upgrade.
It took longer than I expected.
So we
saying.
could do 2 upgrades or a special ability. I think those are the things that make the most sense
Okay.
to us.
Mhm.
So 2 upgrades. It sounds like crew quarters are going to be 1. Am I?
Well,
am I getting that
I
correctly?
don't know. I mean,
This is what I would like very much.
See, the fun part is it not being available.
It kind of is, and you actually did have a decent excuse. You could have said that your mechanic friend helped you like set up some partitions and stuff that you guys have been working on for a while, and so you have like preliminary crew quarters, and then over the next 2 or 3 downtimes they'll get spiffied up. You'll get like nicer doors and some like basic amenities and things like that.
Like doors, period.
Usually your ship has to park somewhere for a little bit in order to get like a ship upgrade, right? And I don't think that this particular starbase is there, but you can at least get started on crew quarters, right? Like this particular cargo area that you've had is now sectioned off, and you each have at least your own space, even if it's not a full quarter yet.
Right.
Uh,
even if it doesn't
but-
include a mattress.
We have privacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your job is time sensitive, so you can't go to a proper star dock. And
Right.
oases don't count because they don't have the ability to like mount your ship correctly in order to like have people actually like mill about and do some structural changes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I would like. I think crew quarters is great. I would like to suggest the other thing we have is dark hyperspace lane maps, and I would like to say that we have been able to pull off of this thing. Faye studying it doesn't unveil all of its secrets yet, but it does. It's just illuminated where all these connections are that normal people don't necessarily know. And I think having our own hyperspace, like off of the like gleaning that already makes a lot of sense. Like basically turning the item into a crew upgrade for us. It could be other things too, but that's the thing that strikes me as
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's super fun.
is that cool?
Trainings are also handy. Just to
Oh, yeah.
throw out there.
Yeah.
And I only mention it because I saw that all of you were availing yourself of trainings, and I feel like with trainings on the ship, that would be stronger. But it's dark hyperspace lane maps is not a bad choice.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would be cool with either one because I agree. Training is cool. It's the way for us to sort of stock up on the abilities that we feel like are we need because at start we got a lot of stuff that isn't filled in. So
A little bit.
training is a good long-term thing because it like helps us get future XP in the future, which yada yada.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'd maybe like to do training next time because I think dark hyperspace maps is
Just
So cool.
so good and like plot wise ties in a way.
It-
that I
Yeah.
really
That
love.
sounds
I
delightful.
agree.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
All right,
But
awesome.
let's remember training for next time.
That'll be
Yeah.
the thing that wins out against crew quarters that time.
Wait.
Well, no, crew quarters are coming in. You get 2 upgrades, so crew quarters and dark
Oh.
hyperspace lane maps.
Yeah.
Aw.
Both.
And just so we know, dark hyperspace lane maps are routes throughout the system, not officially maintained, sometimes faster, always less patrolled, often full of way monsters, pirates, and other scoundrels. You don't want to think about the poor fools that died mapping them.
Great.
Nice. Maybe we can do our next job without having to pass through official gates.
Yeah, we may have to.
What happens when you take the box through a gate?
You'll get to find out because you have to gate to the IOTA system in order to go in the job. If you take the Lithios job, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
totally taking Lethios job.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I think that's it. We did all the stuffs.
Awesome.
So thank you, everyone. I have not been looking at chat in a while. You have
Sorry, chat.
5 in crew advancement, 7 for the first time and 6 more. Yep, Delmon, that is exactly right. 7 the first time and 6 more this time.
We have apparently Dark Hyperspace Lane Map fans.
Yay!
Awesome.
Dark Horse, yes. Everyone is agreeing. I wasn't looking at chat for a while, but everyone is agreeing.
Somebody's yelling at me. They're like, "Quit being so practical. Take the Dark Hyperspace Lane Maps."
I appreciate
All
the
right,
practical.
all right, chat. We'll take them. All right, cool. Sweet. So I think that's it for episode 2 of Scum and Villainy Stardancer on Actual Play, and hopefully we will see everyone in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you then.
Yeah.
Thanks all.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.